Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and tonight we have a longtime friend on the show, and this goes to his dad, is Mr. Ralph Brown, where I first came here. Used to get my hair cut up at Sportsman's Barbershop on Swope Parkway, and I've known Keith. I've been here about 35, 40 years. I've known him ever since I came here. And he's been a community activist in the community, really a life's work in the community and in the clergy. And so I'd like to welcome Mr. Keith Brown to the show. How you doing today, Keith?
Big brother, I'm doing fine, and I'm glad to be a part of your show. And I can promise you that I will not be absent again.
I like that.
Yeah. See, this is the first time you've been asking. I want to help you do what you do because there's nobody in this city that do what you do, and we have to magnify that to really deal with the issues that affect our people.
I shoot from the hip when I do this show. I don't do no study, no nothing. And right off the top of my head, how I want to go, I'm gonna name three issues that I think affect the Black community, and then we'll talk about them. And I want you to name three, and we'll talk about them. So I'm gonna let you go first. Name three issues that you feel affect the Black community, and not just here, because Cascade Media Group and what we do, we try to do things that are duplicatable and scalable. And most of the issues that affect people of color, it's not just in this city, the same issues in other cities. So name three issues that you feel are super important that are affecting our forward progress.
Okay, and they may not necessarily be in order of importance, right, but definitely economics, education, the penal system.
All right, so we got three. Let's talk about education as it relates to communities of color. What are some of the things that you see that need to be improved and that we need to be paying attention on the education plane?
Well, do you remember when Ajama Webster, he was the chairman of the board of African Center Schools before they closed? We must resurrect that mentality, that pedagogy, that ideology. We got to resurrect that within our educational system. By so doing, we will produce the best and the brightest, because then the education would be connected to our culture and customs, which right now it isn't. And anything is going on in schools, and our children are lacking.
All right, on that note, you mentioned Ajamu. Ajamu's been one of the greatest active community leaders since I've been here in Kansas City, not just on the educational front, on multi fronts. What I would have to say on that, so from my point of view, you have to take control of your school boards, and we haven't done that. They dismantled that program because it was so effective. And my grandson went to up there at the African Centered School. he's graduating from Lincoln Prep this year, and right now he's on the college tour with Don Maxwell's son, visiting HBCUs. And so when you look at the Kansas City School District and who sits on the board and what policies are being implemented, that's major. And that's major for every city. The other thing, you talked about economics. All right, economics go right along with that. So, do you think that the Black community and the people that are in would-be leadership positions are paying attention to the corporations like the milk companies, the dairy companies, and different ones that are doing business with the Kansas City School District, um, uh, delivering services, and what are they giving back to the community? Go ahead.
Okay. See, in my judgment, I don't think that on the whole, and definitely here in Kansas City and across the board, there has not been the real linkage and connection with politics, office holders, political prowess with economic enhancement. Like water and oil.
We had that, Keith.
Well, we had it
during
the we had it during the time of what, Charles Haslett?
Yeah, I was just see. Oh, Lordy, Miss Claudia. Yeah, I was gonna say Charles, Bobby, Doc Holliday.
But it's not now.
Alex Harris.
Yes.
They put it together. They put the politics and the business together. There was no meals going to be served downtown at the school district, at the county, at City Hall. There was no building or construction going on unless the Black community got its seat at the table. But over the last 30 years, our infrastructure has crumbled. We don't have minority contractors like they were working. We had 40 contractors that were working. So if you're building a hotel, you can be saying, give us the work, but if you don't have the workforce, and that's where we're at now. And go ahead.
Okay, so the question becomes, why is that? The question becomes, why don't we have the workforce? How do we create the workforce? How do we force unions to train, to let Black folk in to what they do? And so we can have the skilled laborers in all positions that are going to produce, that are going to build and enhance a community.
You can't do that unless you have the organization. Now we have organizations, but they don't do anything. They see, Alex and the minority contractors. I came here, I started painting for $25 a day. And I rose to be one of the top general contractors in Kansas City. I didn't have credit or anything. Minority contractors said, hey, Nelson & Nelson, they got these roofs. We'll back them at Schulte Lumber. Give them the material. We'll stand up. They had all of these different things in place, and you don't have that in place. What you have now, you have different individuals that head up organizations like the one that Mr. Brooks had, Ad Hoc, and those are just names now, and they're getting funds, but they're not doing anything. Ask where their offices are or what they're doing, and the establishment is good with that because they know you really don't have no base. And right now, if you're not willing to plant the seed and grow your own, you're not going to get your way out of this situation. Tyler Perry, he has the movie studio. Everybody likes all these black movies. Without him having that, that wouldn't happen. Uh, Byron Allen, what's the judge? He just got released from his show. Black judge, they cut him, and then Byron Allen's network picked him up the next day. Without the black network, that don't happen. And I liken that to Cascade Media Group. There's not too many people of color and that have had kids that play sports over the last decade that we haven't covered. And when you don't appreciate that and nurture that, and when that disappears, then what do? You don't have an outlet to voice your opinion until a man says, hey, we're going to put the spotlight on you. And then you start thinking that you better than everybody, the other people of color, from my perspective. Let's keep it moving. What do you because you've been over there at Genesis, give our audience a little bit of what's going on over there with these charter schools.
Well, I can say what's going on here at Genesis. All right. Genesis has been around here for nearly 45 years. All right. It started as a Vista program. Alan Dubois became its first executive director. The late Mamie Isler, who I would call one of the queens of principals, was the principal. Genesis served as an alternative school. In time, it became a charter school, which focus again was on those students that had real academic issues, 3, 4, 5 years behind in the school system. Those are the students, the Genesis has taken on. But even at that, you still need an infrastructure where you have, again, the Ajama Websters. See, I go back to that system. You need that in a school like Genesis. What I've tried to do, because I'm not in the classroom, is to identify persons in the community, like a Gwen Grant, folk that would come up to the school and interface with our children.
I think you've done a great job of that. I'm kind of jealous, Negro.
Well, here's the thing. This is why, in my judgment, that we really have to put our might in a real forceful way to help Cascade Media. Because the masses of the people who we need, not that 30%, but the masses of the people in our city, and even from a national standpoint, they need to be brought in to be educated on what's going on in all of the facets and area that affect Black life.
There we go.
And I think that there's no doubt in my mind that as you educate people, all right, then you can truly build a blueprint for Black power.
There we go.
And then it's the masses that will help to elevate what we need to do. And
but
so
you must have a strategy.
No, I understand that.
No, I'm saying this is to piggyback on what you're saying. the masses. Once you engage the masses, information applied is power. And we are powerless because we are not seeking the information that is pertaining to our community. Uh, on another note, the elections are getting ready to pop off in about 2 or 3 weeks. What do you have to say to the community, overall community, about the upcoming elections?
I'm going to tell and suggest to the overall community that you've got to get educated on the issues that affect your well-being, the well-being of your community. We have to understand in every election, whatever is going on, be it municipal, i.e. city election, school election, a state election, county election. And again, this is where Cascade Media is going to come in. Educating our people on what becomes the role of these various political entities. Why do they exist? What do they do that affects and impact our communities? Namely, our pocketbooks, ourselves, our infrastructure, etc. Then, as we educate our people on that, strategy will come as a result of that. See, strategy has to be will come out of that. And so then nobody will have to tell us who we need to vote for. We will know who to ride with because we have been properly educated. Now listen, during slavery, they didn't have a lot of, matter of fact, didn't have economic power. They didn't have the weapons, but they had what was most vital to their liberation. And that was the capacity, the ability to effectively communicate. The drums, all right, the stars, they went back to their African tribal customs. And so they took those songs that Massa gave them, and they used those songs as a communication to liberate. And they began to talk to one another. And in talking to one another, they began to develop strategy for how they were going to leave these plantations and how they were going to organize to kill the overseer. And that's what we have to do. So they assume power at that embryonic point. See, you can't have, the people will be powerless if you don't have an effective communication tool. See, then those who are able to manipulate situations to their advantage and leave the masses powerless, they will continue to do it. So the issue is not some of the things that we talk about. The real issue is having a strong, vital communication establishment. And that's where Cascade Media comes in. And there's some things that I think we need to get together on. not on air. See, to really strategize as it relates to that. And that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head or pinned the tail on the donkey. uh, with that, uh, I think that our community, I know the bottom three-fourths, they're ready for a change. And I think we have to come together under the leadership. I don't know why I'm mentioning freedom on this crap, but freedom is the political entity that has represented the community since I've been here. And I've had my druthers with the leadership, not with the organization at different times. But I think it's not going to be possible unless we come together under that banner. I think you can create new things, but when I first came here, Julia Hill up there where I live, she used to always say, Nelson, you got to work within the organizations when you want to make change. And I'm not just talking about freedom, any, just represent. And I never was with that, but at the end of the day, that is the ticket. And the ticket is just making sure the people that are running your organizations, is representing your school districts and what have you, make sure that they're sticking to the principles that you put them in office with. And when they don't, then get them out of office. And that has been an issue from my perspective with black political leadership around the country. And uh, you have to really be educated and dedicated to the community. And I don't think that a lot of our politicians are like that. A lot of them come out, they come out with these law degrees and what have you. And now I'm in the politics and what have you. And the politics is really in a job, a way for them to earn an income. Is they're in it, but they're in it from a financial standpoint and from a professional standpoint. And I think we've got to correct that. What would be some of your closing words, the last couple of minutes that you would say to our audience?
Well, number one, what we need to do as a next step with Cascade Media, I want to get with you so we can identify that leadership. You had Gwen Grant on, okay? She's going to be doing some things with me, all right? We need to go down the line, and I can help with that, to get with these persons in each of these entities and sit down with them. Then you have them on the show. You don't have them on the show before you sit down with them, all right? Because we need to have agendas. What is going to be the agenda? What's the outcome we're striving for? And get them to commit to it. That's the next thing we need to do. See, because what you just said, if we don't do it, then I have to go back to that black boy, Langston Hughes, when he says, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar oil like syrupy sweet? Does it sag like a heavy load, or does it explode? And what has been happening is that the dreams of the masses have been exploding. And that's why we can't make sense out of the nonsense that's happening in our community. See, because folk, they come out, they don't have jobs. They come out their houses and they see everybody doing a building or fixing the street but them, and don't even look like them. And so we have to ask ourselves, who's responsible for that? Huh? Because our dreams now are exploding, and they're becoming nightmares. And when we don't have the fortitude or wherewithal to go outside of ourselves to do anything, then we're going to erupt like a volcano, and we're going to destroy ourselves. We're not going to have it. So, as people say, it's Sankofa time. No, it's Cascade Media time.
I like that. That I couldn't end on another perfect note, but it was I'm still in Watts's line. Watts is my road dog. Watts always be coming on the show, keep talking about, it was a plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the show.
That's Jimmy. That's him.
Yeah. I'm like, Watts, man, cut out all the niceties. But as we always say in closing, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
Good. Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.